Again, I think part of it is that he's already spoken to both the President of Mexico and Prime Minister of Canada about his desire to renegotiate. And I think as he meets with both of these individuals over the next 30 days or so, that's going to be a topic.
That was White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer telling the media President Trump will soon be talking trade with both Canada and Mexico. Now, of course, a lot of implications for our country here. And Cormac Sweeney with our Ottawa Bureau joining us now. Cormac, thank you very much for joining us. And an interesting few days when it comes to NAFTA and everything else. What are we looking at for a renegotiation?
Well, we don't really know how this is all going to shake down, but we do know that over the next 30 days, President Trump is going to be speaking and meeting personally with Mexican President Enrique Peña Nieto and Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, and that's where they're going to get down to the real talks about where this is heading. We're waiting to see whether there is formal notice given about renegotiations. That hasn't happened yet from President Trump, but when that does happen, it can really shake down in two ways. One way, they do renegotiate NAFTA, and the target seems to be Mexico here, so we're expecting to see more trade barriers put on Mexico. The hope is Canada doesn't get hit and turn into collateral damage as a result of that. The other scenario is that Donald Trump isn't happy with what he sees out of Mexico, so he just pulls the plug on the whole trade agreement, and we go into a situation where Canada may have to try and negotiate another trade agreement with the U.S. To try and maintain what we currently have.
What would that mean? Would we go back to the original free trade agreement, or is it everything's out the window now and it's Wild West?
Well, again, it kind of comes down to how this all shakes out with Donald Trump. He's so unpredictable, it's not clear where this might head. But yes, we could revert back to that original free trade agreement before NAFTA, before Mexico was involved. But there's also a lot of talk right now out of the Trudeau camp and some Trump advisors that possibly we could be looking at maybe a NAFTA, a different looking NAFTA, but with some side deals being worked out with Canada to try and protect some of our interests. But there are a number of other things that the U.S. wants to work on as well. Country of origin, which could hurt our manufacturing sector if those standards are raised, but also looking at dispute settlement, two areas where Trump's camp have said that they really want to focus on. Those are two areas that I think Canada would want to protect. So there might be a lot of give and take here, given what's going on.
And we have heard some good news from officials from the states who are saying it's kind of business as usual with Canada. We're their trading partner, right?
Yes. Yeah, there was a top key advisor to President Trump who was speaking with the Trudeau government at their cabinet retreat in Calgary, and he was basically trying to calm a lot of fears from Canada's side, saying, look, you're not the target here. Don't worry about this. We want to make sure that our trading relationship is level and staying as the way that it always has been, because things are so good right now. And really, you're talking about trade surpluses and deficits. These are issues that the U.S. has mainly with Mexico rather than Canada. We're helping out a lot of northern states when it comes to their economies. We're the biggest trading partner for 35 northern states, and I think that that is something that the Trump administration is keeping in mind when it looks at the economic impact of free trade. For Mexico, it's a totally different scenario, and that's why I think we did have a key advisor to Trump up here today to tell the Trudeau government and the public, don't fear, you're not the target. But again, we have an unpredictable president. It's hard to really say where this may go, and the political climate right now is uncertainty, so we have to be prepared for everything.
Now, the other big thing, of course, the Trans-Pacific Partnership, done. After a decade of negotiations, he's scrapped it, and they need the Americans.
Yeah, the president signing that executive order today, and I immediately sent out a letter to the trade minister's office and sent that email asking, what does this really mean for us, for Canada? Is there any way out of this? But the answer came back in a very short email saying, without the United States, this deal cannot go through. And that comes down to rules that say that you need 85%, or you need a number of countries representing 85% of the population of all the countries involved. That's a big thing for Canada to lose the TPP. It's effectively now dead. That could have been brought in a few $billion initially, but then it would have grown over time. It would have been great for our country. Now we have to try and sign a bunch of independent bilateral deals if we want to get that.
All right, Cormac, thanks very much for joining us today.